All right, Gamer Tag Radio listeners, we need your support. We're planning to go to E3 2019, but we can't go without your support. Head over right now to donate.gamertagradio.com. That's donate.gamertagradio.com and support the show. You can donate if you want, or there's another way for you to support GTR. Go to store.gamertagradio.com and buy t-shirts, hoodies, stickers. Please spread the word. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Yo, Tony. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, bro?
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you fine, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can hear you perfectly,
awesome.
Man. So look, this is the thing that we do, man, on the podcast. We have this thing that I just started a couple weeks ago. It's really good. It's called Daily Conversations. So I sometimes call Pete or I'll call Paris, just regular conversation, you know. And whatever pops up in the conversation, I just put it as a podcast and just release it as an episode. But it's good. It's really, really good. So the reason why I'm calling you, Tony, is, you know, you've been posting a lot about Crackdown 3. So there's been a lot of tweets, good and bad, about the game. The bad I get that people were expecting, you know, this game to be like some crazy next-gen game and whatever, which I get. And the way how Microsoft promoted the game was kind of whack. You know, the power of the cloud and all this nonsense, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get all that stuff. I know the developer's been going through so much throughout the years, developing the game. I know previous E3, it was getting a lot of bad feedback at that time too. So the game got delayed multiple times. So now the game finally comes out. So I see you as more of a PlayStation guy than an Xbox guy, you know. So I was very surprised seeing your tweet saying how much you love this game. I'm like, wow, because look, when they announced this game, I was like, all right, it's Crackdown. It's not gonna be no Uncharted or God of War or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yo, I have fun, you know, battling out with the bosses and explosions, you know. Or my favorite part of the game is just like the orbs, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, your opinion?
It's interesting because
your opinion about the whole game. Go for it.
Yeah, like, you know, because I wasn't really, you know, expecting much, you know, based off of all the, you know, the news coverage I've seen, the videos. I don't think any of those videos they put out promoting the game did the game any justice. So, you know, I got Game Pass, so I'm like, all right, you know, I'll try it out. Why not? You know. Yeah. And like immediately I was hooked, bro. Like, you know, like you said, the collecting the, you know, orbs and all that. But like, it's funny because I'm mostly, you know, I really appreciate stories and narratives, all that. This game is very, very light on it, but very heavy on gameplay. And it kind of struck me how kind of old school it felt. Like, you know, even though I know it's a 360 game, it kind of felt like a PS2 era, Xbox era game. I know to some people that may be like a diss. To me, that's a compliment. Like, I kind of miss that. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, games nowadays, you know, they're too complicated now. You know, they take too long to beat. They demand too much of you. So I kind of appreciate a game that it's like, okay, here's the game. Here's the fantasy of being a superhero. Have fun, you know? So just from a mechanic standpoint, it's just very satisfying. You know, you're exploring the city. You see orbs and, you know, you have that. There's this one thing from Family Guy, like, you know, they were like, oh, piece of candy. Like, I felt like that, like just grabbing all the orbs and stuff. And I like how you can hear them when you get close to them. So, you know, you get close to them, and then, you know, the weapons they give you are really fun to use. And the game kind of encourages you to use different weapons, blowing up the bases. And that's the thing. It's like Assassin's Creed does this too, where the missions don't take you very long. So, you know, you eat, you know, I was going to say, it's like a potato chips. Like, you eat one, you want another one, you know, because they're quick and satisfying. So, you know, I found even in the first day, I cleared a good chunk of the map, like just by playing it, you know. And I do feel that a lot of the criticism, I haven't, you know, I'm only, you know, talking about what I've seen on Twitter, some of the reactions. I haven't read any reviews or anything, but I know the game got like 60 or something on Metacritic. I think that's very, very unfair. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this game is like, I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10 type of game, like, and I don't feel it's a system seller, at any means, but it's definitely deserving of more than like a 60. Like I would give it like a 75 or something like that. 'Cause to me, it fulfills that kind of like simplicity, the need for that simplicity that I'm missing in a lot of games, man. Like when you play a game, they just like, to me, they're almost oppressive how like demanding they are of you, So it's good to, play something that's back to basics and just fun. And, to me, that's what gaming is supposed to be about in the first place, just having a blast. And this game really does a great job of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, even Paris brought this up, which I get where he's coming from when it comes to this too. When we moved on. Been a couple years now. There've been a lot of games that been amazing, right? Like they changed. They've been evolving, doing new things, and so on. So, as a person that have you played part 1 and part 2 of Crackdown?
I have not. This is my first
one. So I played Crackdown 1. The reason why I got that game was because they were promoting Halo 3 beta at that time. Like, oh, get Crackdown. And they were promoting this like the next GTA for exclusive for Xbox. And I was like, I don't know about that. So I got the game and I really didn't care anything about the story. The story to me was like, whatever. Bosses, I found a little bit, easy at that time too. But the thing that I really enjoyed about that game was just the missions and just collecting orbs, right? So then part 2 comes out, and actually I mentioned this on the podcast too. That was our first digital review code I received from a gaming publisher. Yeah, it was for that game. So we got it, started downloading it. We start playing like co-op, and dude, we've been having a lot of fun. So we have game nights. We'll play with other, GTR listeners and start collecting orbs and blah, blah, blah. Again, starting out all that. It was just that part that was fun. Now, years later, part 3 comes out. It's been delayed and all that stuff. And a lot of people, and especially the reviewers, are saying that the game just feels dated. It just feels like it hasn't changed. There's nothing new. So I think the majority of people been saying that is the main reason why they've been getting low review scores. Now, in my opinion, I always tell people this. If you have Game Pass, try it out. You're not really losing anything because it's there and you're paying for the service. Might as well just download whatever is there. You know what I'm saying? So why not try it out? And you decide if the game is fun or not from there. But that part, Tony, is the game hasn't been evolving. A lot of games been evolving. Uncharted kind of did that a little bit, especially God of War did that. Yeah. I think that's the issue that Halo's been having is they've been trying to do something new and then been kind of stuck at kind of like the same formula from back in the days, right? They added new things here and there, but now this is an opportunity for Microsoft to release something brand new, but it still has that name of that franchise. You know what I'm saying? So you said that it feels like the old school games. Is that a good thing now for 2019 though?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for me personally, it is because, I'm just being honest. I'm kind of getting tired of modern gaming. It's kind of, it's like the fun to me is being lost a little bit, like with microtransactions, DLC, season pass, patches, all this other stuff. Like to me, I'm getting really worn out of what modern gaming is becoming, and to play a game like this as a throwback, to me it's refreshing. But I understand why some people may not like that. They may not like the older designs of games, and we also sometimes I got to remind myself like, this isn't like 1999. It's a whole crop of like new cats coming over here playing games that were probably born in 1999. You know what I'm saying? Like they demand different things. So it's an interesting thing to be in. It's like, okay, with Crackdown 3, same thing with God of War, right? The new one. It's like, how do you update the game? But, please, the original fans will bring in a new batch, right? I think God of War did an excellent job of that. I don't think alienated anybody. Crackdown 3, they went the other route. It's like, no, we're just going to do this old school, and I think for guys like me and you, we're perfectly fine with that. We grew up in the old school. We appreciate how gaming has evolved, but I think these new cats, and I think a lot of the reviewers out there may be, younger than us, they may not appreciate that. They may want, like upgrades and story paths and all this other stuff. So it's a kind of precarious situation that Microsoft found itself in. It is interesting how, this game's been developing so long and it comes out and at least from people are telling me it's more or less the same game, just more polished. So I can't really speak to why they decided to do that, but yeah, like okay, objectively speaking,
Yeah.
I say no, it's not a good thing to bring out an old game like that nowadays. Personally speaking, I say keep bringing them, but it's two different things. But at least I could at least see what I want is not what the public demands.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I'm trying to remember the game. Was it Duke Nukem that
Yeah.
it came back and it was unfinished, so the developers decided to continue the development of that game. And when it got released, it got hammered with the review. Like, yo, dude, the reviews was pretty bad, and it was that it felt dated. It felt like really old school, and there's nothing really new in there, and just the jokes was just kind of cheesy and corny in the game. So from that part, though, Tony,
Yeah.
is that even a good thing too? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're old school, but like I'm a hip hop cat. Like I love hip hop, right? Sometimes I love the old school way, but sometimes it's good to do new things so the music could grow. And I feel like if you still continue doing the same thing, the industry is not going to grow. Which in that part I understand. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but there's a lot of not new school cats, but there's even older cats that maybe they just don't like the old school way. It's time to change. You know what I'm saying? So we're in a position like, okay, so who's right, who's wrong? I think, in my opinion, I just feel like don't base on a game just because it's getting a bunch of 9s, a bunch of 10s, or a bunch of 6, a bunch of 7s everywhere. It's better to just try it out on your own. Like, hey, if you want to go use Game Pass or maybe PlayStation Now, or what's the other one that you could rent, the rental spot and the kiosk.
Red something, right? Whatever it was.
Yeah,
I forget the name of it.
Yeah,
Red Bar. Yeah.
Yeah, so you do that. You could rent it and check it out, right? Like the conversation we were having a couple months ago about Red Dead Redemption. You love that game. You call that game one of your favorites of this generation, right?
Yeah.
I bought the game hype. I fell asleep a couple of times playing the campaign story.
Wow.
And that's the thing. We all have different opinions. So it's like, you're not right, you're not wrong. I'm not right, I'm not wrong. So I think the only way we can find out if the game is actually really good is trying it out ourselves. Everybody's gonna have a different opinion. You could learn and get educated from our opinions and everybody's opinions, like online, on YouTube streams and all that. But at the end of the day, what matters the most is you, the consumer, the person that's gonna actually spend the money or spend your time playing this game.
Yeah, I think that's a problem that's going on, with the gaming community right now. It's like people or gamers, let's just, call it what it is. They're too willing to listen to other people's opinions, especially the negative ones, and just going with that instead of trying it. And like you said, it's like, okay, you got Game Pass here. It's not, you can just download the game and play it, but you rather just choose to just, crap on the game instead. That makes no sense to me. I don't like it, again, because you and I, we come from the old school, right? It wasn't like that. We would talk trash about other systems and stuff, but at the end of the day, we still play them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may be like, oh yeah, Genesis sucks, Nintendo sucks, but you still go to your friend's house and you still play them games. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, it just seems like they're not even willing to try anything. Like they just want to jump on the hate bandwagon, just to seem cool or whatever. Which to me, I'm like, no, you just look stupid because you're not even trying the game. You know what I'm saying? I could have easily went down that route. I could have been like, yo, I've seen all this stuff on Crackdown. Game looks whack. I'm not playing it. But I was like, you know what? I've seen all this negative stuff, but I got Game Pass. Let me give it a try. Now, to me, this is one of the most surprising games of the year. Like, I wish more gamers were willing to do that. It's like, yo, just step out the box, and just play something, give it a shot, and get, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to like the game, come on, man. Just I don't, and that's the thing, I'm not to go too off topic. That's the whole thing with society in general nowadays. Like, everybody's so willing to be negative now. You know what I'm saying? I've done it too. We all done it. Guilty of that too.
I think we all done it. We all done it.
Yeah, of course. But I'm trying, to get past that. And I find that, when you do, you could find something that you may like. So Yeah, I think that's a problem for sure. And you already know how it is, man. Like the stain, as I'm calling it that too, it's a stain. It's not going to go away from Crackdown. It's going to follow it till 10 years from now. Which is a shame because I think there's a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole like negativity that's going on now
I
with
think
the industry, with games?
And honestly, recently I've been seeing a lot of tweets about, like, let's say the Division 2, right?
Yeah.
The beta came out. People, a lot of us like the game, right? But there's people that find it bad, they don't like it, they find it boring, and then they're being really negative on Twitter, like slamming the developers and all. And it's like, wow, we all requested and gave feedback to the developers for them to do a bunch of things in the game from the first one. They came back, 1.8 update came out, slowly adding more stuff. Then we go to E3, they announced Division 2. They mentioned all the stuff that's going on. And it's like, wow, this is so dope. And that happened was because of community feedback, right? But nowadays, like, easily, the consumers will flip on you like this, man, and just start trashing you right away for any little dumb things. I'm not saying that we all perfect, right? Because we all make mistakes. We're humans, right?
Yeah.
Developers, everybody, marketing folks, PR folks, everybody, like, even us, the consumers, we all make mistakes, man. But at the same time, we got to sit back and think about it. Like, is it worth to put all your energy on being so angry and so negative to the people that worked on the game? Because I think I spoke about this on one of our live streams. It's not on the podcast, but it's interesting sitting down and actually talking to the developers when you get invited to an event and they've been working on this game for so long. So they're stuck in this bubble, right? And they think it's the greatest product they ever worked on. They're like, oh my God, I see the potential. Oh my God, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So when they see that people are not liking it and they give them their reasons, they'd be like, damn, we worked on this for 3-4 years. Hold on, let me take notes. Let me write. I love this. Give us feedback. I need for us to get, learn from this. But here's the thing, Tony. The game is coming out. They're not going to have the time to fix all this stuff, right? Maybe they'll fix it down the road with just with updates, or maybe on the next game.
That's right. Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand how long it takes to implement some of these changes. Like, you can't just be like, "Hey, I need this," and they're going to throw it in next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a long time.
Yep. No, it takes a long time. But here's the thing. Are we going to be blaming developers for that, man? Because sometimes they work on these products and they actually think it's the greatest game ever. I can't wait to release it. They've been working really hard. That's how they get their money, man. That's their 9-to-5 jobs, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think give your feedback, but not trash. Not take it to this level. It's like too much negativity, man. I feel like we look tacky as a community, man. As an industry, just doing all that stuff, man. I think when we were young, Tony, we'll say stupid things, like, we were into the whole PlayStation, the more of, if I want to go really old school, Sega versus Nintendo, and this, man, screw you. My Super Nintendo sounds better. You might say, well, my Sega Genesis, I have blood in Mortal Kombat. The first Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2, you don't, blah, blah, blah. Like stuff like that. But it's interesting, man. It's interesting. But here's the thing. The negativity always outshine the positive, which is crazy, no matter what it is. Beyond gaming, movies, music. Like, let me ask you this question. Do you have a game that you truly, truly love that been getting slammed back in the days with reviews, but still to this day, you love that game so much? Do you have a couple?
Man, that's a funny thing because, this is a question that comes up sometimes for my podcast. And like, actually, no, here's one. Here's a recent one.
Okay.
I can't say I love it, but I enjoyed it, right? And everybody craps on it. The Order 1886 on PS4, right?
I really like that game. I liked it.
I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was cool. It was decent.
Yeah, like all the criticism, I fully understand it, right? Like the story's short, the gameplay is limited. Like, I understand all that, and I agree with it, right? And I have my own problems with the game, but I saw the potential in the game world that they were trying to build, and I realized they fell very short of it. But I enjoyed it for what it is. But people really, really crapped on it. Another one that I really liked, and this on Xbox side, Ryse on a Rome. I enjoyed the game a lot, but it got the same criticism.
Ryse.
Like, oh, the gameplay's shallow. You know what I'm saying? All this other stuff. But like, yo, I enjoyed that game for what it was. You know,
he's another one. Until Dawn. I really truly like it. That game didn't get a lot of great reviews. They were like, yeah, it's whatever. But there was a following like, yo, no, this game is pretty dope. Like, that's the thing that I like is those cult classic games that same thing with Sunset Overdrive. Dude, I love that game. A lot of people make fun of that game. A lot of people might not like it.
Dope, bro.
I love that game. Love that game. Yes, I agree that maybe in the beginning it took too long, like the tutorial, blah, blah, blah. But once you figure out what to do in the game, my God, it's like mind-blowing. And honestly, if it wasn't for that game, there would have been no Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. They learned a lot from that game. They made it better for that for Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, that's a great example. Great game. Here's the thing. And this is even worse, I think. To me, I don't see that game getting really crapped on as much. I see people don't even talk about it. To me, that's even worse. You know, it's like no one's even played this game. It's sad, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know it's on PC now, so hopefully you guys are all go out there who don't have an Xbox, check it out. But yeah, I don't know, man. But you're right. Going back to what we were talking about, it's like the negativity is a really bad thing. I hope people, learn to. It's not good for you even as a human being to consume all that negativity. You know what I'm saying?
But there's a difference. There's a difference between being negative and being critical. That's two different things.
Yes.
Because I want people to understand. Because look, Paris might say something about Anthem or any game, or Pete will say the same thing. Oh, look, I don't like this one or whatever. Like, that's different. That's you're giving your opinion and your feedback. So when they work on the next game, make it better, right? Now, negativity is like, F this, F that, and you start posting this crazy stuff online, start, tweeting to like certain developers or producers on Twitter or even the company, just trashing it just because you want to just trash it. That to me is negativity. So I want people to understand that it's not the same as being critical about the game.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up too. Is like, for you guys listening right now, it's like, please understand. It's like, there is such a thing as constructive criticism. Developers, respect that. They want to know because again, when they're doing a game, like you said, they're in their own bubble. They think it's the greatest game ever. So it's good. It's good for them to know, hey, this may not be working well, but it's how you say it that counts. If you go, yo, F this, F that. This is a crap game. They're not going to listen to you. But if you go, hey, listen, man, I think you kind of fell off the mark here. I think you did this good, but I think this could be fixed. I think they're more willing to listen to that. Like, for perfect example, Paris, right? Yeah. He broke down some of the reasons why he's not really feeling Anthem, right? And so it's some of the criticism I have, but neither of us are in there like crapping on the game or whatever.
No.
And even for me, even though like I don't, it's not what I want from BioWare. I'm still willing to play the game and hope I'm wrong,
Yeah. Have you didn't get a review copy for this game?
No, I didn't get it. I just played the I think it was the open beta they had a couple weeks ago.
Oh, open beta. Yeah.
I had that. No, I didn't get any review copy, but I don't know, man. And then I know he did a totally different conversation, but he was talking about how the game could get better. I'm not exactly a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I want the game to be good on the first day. I don't really have time to come back to it later or whatever, but that's a whole other thing right there. But circling back to Crackdown, I think it doesn't need to get better. It's already good as it is, man. But it is a shame, like you said, that a lot of people won't even give it a try just because of what the opinions of other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think that I really wanted to record this conversation with you because it's like, I'm surprised that Tony really likes this game, and you now that you mentioned, Ryse, and what was the other one too? You mentioned the Order. Yeah, I have fun with those games. Is it Game of the Year contender? No. Is it something groundbreaking? No. It was something like, hey, pick it up, rent it, whatever. It was fun. Let me move on. That's it. And we're early the year, 2019. There's so many games, man. So many games that's coming out there was a lot that came out just on February 15th.
That's right. You're just alone on that day. You're right.
That day, like, yo, when we ever seen something like that in gaming? Like, it's been a long time, man. Having multiple games like that just on one day. I think it's cool. You have a lot of options, man. Let's say you have Game Pass, you go and try out Crackdown. Yo, you can go. Let's say you don't have a $60 money, like $60 to buy a game. Yo, get Far Cry New Dawn, $39.99. You know, like there's options, man. Like I think slowly we should just start doing more research about the game and just go out there and just rent it or buy it, or I don't know, just figure it out, man. Because I truly like Crackdown. Is it Sunset Overdrive material? In my opinion, no. But hey, it's decent. I'm having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
and I think that's all that really matters. If you're having fun with the game, you know, all that other stuff that you hear, it's all noise. You know what I'm saying? It's like it should really matter if you're having fun, and that's what counts.
Yeah, and I think in a way it was Microsoft's fault too, because not the developers, but more the marketing, how they like the power of the cloud and starting all these stuff back in the days to promote the game. That hurt the game even more, in my opinion, because it was just too much. And it's like, you're not helping the game. Let the developers work on this game and just release it. And you're like, oh, we have a new Crackdown. Like, yo, that's it. Like, instead of just hyping it up so much, like, yo, this is next gen and we can't do this without Xbox One. And you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's to me is freaking cheesy, man. I'm not a fan of that crap, man, at all. You know?
Yeah, the same thing happened with No Man's Sky. Remember Sony? They hyped that game up like it's a $60 experience. You know, next gen gaming.
Yep,
it wasn't that, man.
Yep,
wasn't that? Just like Crackdown. I feel if that game would have just dropped, people would be like, "Oh, this is actually kind of cool," you know. But since that went in with all those expectations, you know, it just didn't live up to it, you know. But you're right about that. Like the marketing for some of these publishers, they need to reel it back.
Yeah, and honestly, I think No Man's Sky situation was way worse because people bought the $60 game and they were like, what the hell is this? And drama started. Oh my god, drama. People started finding out stuff that's not in the game, and that was way worse. Like, horrible.
Yeah, that game to me is a perfect example. I'm sorry to cut you off. Like the real negativity. Even before the game came out, like anytime somebody would report anything negative about the game, they would get death threats. Like Jason Schreier, like he reported the game may be delayed, and they started like, you know, doing a death threat on him. And then Sean Murray, the guy who makes the game, said, yeah, we have to delay the game. He was getting death threats, and I'm like, hold on, how you gonna try to kill the guy who's making the game, bro? Yeah, that's like you're not gonna get the game. It's crazy.
That's the negativity I'm talking about. Like, how are you helping the situation by you saying those things? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not helping. You're not helping at all. And here's the thing: I think that there's this difference between developers, marketing folks, and PR folks. PR folks work with the developers to release information on certain things in the game. Let's save some content. Every few months, let's release something to the media or show something to the media so people could start talking about it, right? Once it's died down, we have another set of stuff to talk about. And we're going to spread that to the media, to the influencers, the streamers, YouTubers, etc. Right? Here's the thing that sometimes marketing folks will do things that it was their fault, but people will see as the developer's fault instead of the marketing people's fault. For example, Halo 5. They started marketing and doing all these crazy commercials that's not in the game. Not in the game. And what happened? Nobody blamed the marketing folks. It was more, oh my god, why 343 did that? Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, to me, it was just like, man, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks because there's a lot of people that worked on that game or any other game that they don't have no control over the stuff that they put on TV or they showed through ads. They have no control. They just worked on the game, and whatever the marketing folks are doing to promote this, they're the ones that are going to be giving it a bad name. So when you said about Sony pushing it, yes, it was Sony pushing this. They even put it on stage during E3, like, yo, this is like an exclusive, mind-blowing, this is going to take over the world. You remember that? At E3?
Oh yeah.
No Man's Sky? That wasn't their fault. The developers that worked on that game. Zero. Now, there were certain things that they said, I think they did mess that up in a way, though.
Yeah, because Sean Murray, he like basically, I remember he was doing interviews. Every question they asked him, no matter what it was, my man said yes to everything. You know, like,
yeah,
like multiplayer, yes. Is that a co-op? Yes. Is it a big story? Yes.
Yes.
Like, he said yes to everything. It was like, come on, you bro. It's like I understand, like, you're just a developer, but somebody needed to coach this man. You know,
yeah.
Like, yo, he just, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, again, you learn, you live and learn, man. In life, you live and learn from those mistakes, and then next time, yo, don't do it. Because look, honestly, it could be even content creators or developers, whatever. When you do this so much, dude, you're gonna burn yourself out, man. That you don't want to do this anymore, man. And that's his that part was his fault, saying yes to everything. But at the same time, it's his baby, and maybe he felt that way too, man.
Yeah, maybe he's like, okay, we're gonna have to. It's so funny that all that stuff, he said was gonna be in the game is in the game now. They did eventually bring it, but so maybe he had the idea of like, yo, I want to have this stuff, but
it wasn't ready for launch. You think?
Yeah, it wasn't ready for launch. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. But they should have made that clear. But you did bring up an interesting point. It's like, okay, if the publisher messes up, the developer gets blamed for it. If PR messes up, the developer gets blamed for it. So it's kind of unfair if you really think about it.
It is unfair. It is unfair. It is unfair. But to me, at the end of the day, it's all about the communication.
Yeah.
Not only with them, but also with the consumers. Don't confuse the consumers by promoting certain things, then once the consumer gets the product, be like, wait a minute, that's not in the game. Why are you promoting that?
You're right about that. But at the same time, and I know this is not going to happen, but consumers also have to understand, it's like, sometimes you may get something about the game that's not even in there. Like when I see some stuff and it's not in there, I'm like, all right, I understand, like.
Whoa. Depends. What, like what? Give me an example. Like what? Give me one example that they promoted it, but it wasn't in the game.
Okay, this is just like marketing stuff. So the first Destiny, right? When you saw those commercials, right? It looked like it was going to be like a really fun, lighthearted type of game. With like the main character joking with each other and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You get the game. It's this very, very serious type of game. They eventually added that stuff to Destiny 2, but like even when I saw that, like when it wasn't in the game, like okay, there's just marketing. They got to do that type of stuff. But I can understand how you could abuse that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the only example that comes to my mind is like, actually, no, here's a more egregious one. And I'm just being real right now. When Mark Cerny came out with PS4, he's like, yeah, every game's going to be 1080p, 60 frames. I'm like, get the F out of here, bro. That's not going to happen, And when it didn't happen, I wasn't mad. But some people till this day hold them to that,
But see, why would he say that, though? What was the reason of him actually... That's a good thing to start off. Is Sony has done a lot of things like that, man, and still to this day, there's a lot of people that were okay with it. Now, if it was like Nintendo or Xbox, I think, you see torches outside, filling flames. I'm serious. Like people will flip out. One example is now I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's Sony or Square on this. So. Years ago, during the PlayStation 3, we get to see and I quote, demo of Final Fantasy VII, like a remake. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 3. People were hyped. Wow. People actually bought the PlayStation 3 because they saw that. That never came out. Years later, PlayStation 4 comes out. We go to the press conference, right? Same exact thing. This time, it's a remake. A little bit different style, similar to like Kingdom Hearts, like that type of vibe of Final Fantasy VII that's coming out. Everybody got hyped. Yo, best press conference ever, right?
Yeah.
Crickets after that. The next gen console is coming out. The rumor is it's coming out next year. So what is the point of showing something that's not even ready? Is just to hype people up to buy the product? Isn't it to you? as a PlayStation fan, do you see that as a lying marketing thing or what? Or you think it's just, no, it's coming, just not the right time. Maybe it's coming out for next gen. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, with Final Fantasy VII specifically, and the developers talked about that. Basically, that demo that you saw for PS3, that was not even meant to be something like, hey, we got Final Fantasy VII coming. It was just them showing, hey, this is how cool our technology is. But, and I've said this before, what they didn't realize and what they should have realized, like, yo, if you're going to put something like that out there, people are going to think you're making a new Final Fantasy. So they got stuck to the walls like, oh, now we got to make this game, you know? And Square Enix has an issue with that. Like, Final Fantasy 15 took forever. Kingdom Hearts 3 took forever, you know? But you going to your main point, like, you know, and even though PlayStation does definitely have a problem, like, you know, it's a problem in general, like, of companies like Nintendo does it too. They throw out a logo, yo, this is developing, and you won't see it for years. You know, yeah. So I'm like, yo, that needs to stop, bro. Like, going back, and this is more recent, Resident Evil 2. I love the way they did that game. They announced it 3 years ago. Yo, we got a Resident Evil 2 remake coming. You didn't hear nothing until last year at E3. They showed it to you. It was like, yo,
it's coming out now.
The game's gonna be available in January. Bam. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But see,
or even better. I'm sorry. Fallout 4. Remember how that joint was marketed? They announced it at E3. Yo, it's coming out in November. Get hype.
Yep. Or let's go with the most recent one. Apex Legend. Available now.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. That I love. I love that. But at the same time, if the company, it could be anybody, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, anybody, or any of the third companies, if they show a game at a press conference and it's really early, at least have that communication. Look, it's coming. Like, for example, Shenmue. They only showed it once at E3 right at the beginning, and then now it's coming slowly, right? Got delayed, whatever, blah, blah. But there's always been communication with the developers and the consumers. If you just show the game and stay quiet, and it's been 4, 5, 6, 7+ years, and you haven't said anything, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Is it to hype the crowd up or hype the investors up to make them happy? Think about that.
Man, that's a whole other thing. Like, I feel a lot of these announcements that you get are like, they're not even for the consumers. They're for the stockholders, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Like, yo, we got this. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, yo, I remember this, man. Leaving from the PlayStation press conference from E3. I can't remember which one. It was a couple years ago. Do you see all the execs coming out, high five? Yo, man, that was a dope. Oh my God, it was great. The crowd went nuts. There was some of those games that they show there hasn't been released. Haven't said a word about that. And Final Fantasy is one of them. I don't know.
Final Fantasy. Yeah.
And then look, Microsoft done this in the past too. Every company has done it. Every company. I just freaking hate it, man. Hate it. As long there's communication every few months or every year or so, yo, I'm fine with that. But like you said about Resident Evil 2 remake, they showed it, quiet, show it again. It's coming out in January. Boom. Awesome. I like that. That's my type of marketing. And that it reminds me a lot of like Apple does that. Like, and this is available right now. Go to the store. Like that type of vibe. I like that. I like that, man.
And for us, you know, just with Resident Evil 2, I'm talking about us as the press. It was great because we saw the conference, you know, it's like, oh, Resident Evil 2 is coming. It's like, oh, by the way, you get to play it and talk to your viewers about it. I love that, you know?
Yeah. Anything else, Tony? This has been a good...
that was it, man. You know, again, you know, this conversation, by the way, talking about, you know, hyping up things and promising, you know, what you promised for this conversation is exactly what we delivered. You know, it's like we started with some, but it may go somewhere else, you know, like a regular conversation.
Regular conversation. Yeah, thanks, everybody, for listening to Daily Conversations, man. Tony, you want to mention Twitter, website, you want to promote, the podcast?
Yeah, man. If you want to check me out, I'm on the Twitters at Romudeth, ROMUDETH. And in the bio, you're going to see links for all the stuff I do. I write for Geek.com, Tom's Guide, and I also host the Throwdown podcast. We have shows every Thursday and Sunday nights at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And we also have a Discord now. So I have links for all that available as well on my Twitter. So please join up and, you know, have a conversation with us. That's what it's all about, man. It's all about talking about games and playing them and enjoying them, man.
Definitely, man. All right, Tony, man. Thanks a lot for the conversation, man. It was fun.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Take care. Peace.
All right, peace.
Hey.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.